right, this month we have a special speaker. We've tried in the past to get him on our in our lineup. Ross Grothe, welcome.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here and help you guys out and participate in this, I guess, what we call a question answer type situation, rather than doing a full-fledged seminar. I like talking about reality and stuff I've done and had success with on the water, in life, and catching fish and trying to get to the next level, but more importantly, having fun.
So let's go to your beginnings and then talk a little bit about where it took you from there. What got you into fishing and where did you start?
My father had a passion for the outdoors, and he introduced me to the fishing, to the hunting, and everything else that involves in that. And I always had that drive to compete. And back in 1993, I met a fellow who was a competitor back in the PWT days, and I had an opportunity to travel with him as a co-angler and kind of learn the ropes. And his name was Sam Anderson, and he's no longer in the walleye game, but it was also Mark Broombaugh and Mike Gofron. And it was really cool. I had a great experience. My first Pro-Am tournament as a co-angler was down in Mobridge, South Dakota. And it was pretty overwhelming to come from Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes, and come to a beautiful reservoir like Lake Oahe. I was just overwhelmed with the mass and so forth. And I always thought to myself, what a neat place to come out and fish and experience the great outdoors. But more importantly, I cannot wait to show my family this great part of the country that a lot of people have not had an opportunity to see and so forth. So in 1994, I competed as a co-angler, traveled with the guys, did some pre-fishing, kind of, put together what it takes to compete and doing your homework. And homework is pre-fishing, and then you take the test, and that's how you perform in the tournament. And we have good, bad, and indifferent, but I was just sitting back, helped those guys develop programs and so forth, but I had to bite my tongue when I got in with some of the other pros and just went for a boat ride or whatever it might be, knowing that I can't change what they're doing. But it was a great learning experience, and I would never change that for the world. And it allowed me to meet some great people within the industry, other competitors and so forth. And after that 1994 season, I decided, you know what? I want to try this. And I was working with my father at the time. He ran a custom home building business. And he said, well, why not? You have nothing to lose. He said, you might come home with your tail between your legs and have a little debt. But more importantly, why go through life wishing you would have? Do it now. And we know so many people that get into the groove and they can't take that risk to try different things. And if it's an occupation or tournaments or whatever. And the rest was history. I went out. Our first two tournaments were on Lake Mille Lacs, which was kind of my home body of water where I developed my real passion for walleye fishing. And I placed, I think I had a 12th and a 24th. One was in the PWT, one was in the NWT. Well, that was awesome because it gave me the working capital, to complete the rest of the year. It gave me the confidence to compete against Gary Parsons and Gary Roach and Sam Anderson and those top guys. So within that, I had also met some potential sponsors in 1994 that I introduced myself and was able to get some product sponsorship and grow it from there. And it wasn't shortly thereafter, my next year, they had the NAWA, which was sponsored by Cabela's. It was a North American Walleye Anglers. I've been around a few years now. I don't want to age myself, but I'm 52 years old. I'll be 52 here in August. And started out at a young age and been through quite a few walleye circuits and been able to talk about it and still pursue my dreams of walleye fishing, why some of them went away. But at NAWA in 1996, I won Angler of the Year, which was just amazing to me. But that really set the groundwork for my future as far as establishing myself with sponsors and the media and so forth, and the rest was history. And I just put my nose to the grindstone and gave it 110% and never gave up. And more importantly, it brought me to where I'm at today. And, 26, 27 years later, I still have that passion to catch walleyes and compete. It's just at a different level. And I've been all over the country, had an opportunity to fish all of the Great Lakes except for Lake Ontario, rivers, reservoirs, and everything from Kentucky to Arkansas, Pennsylvania, into Canada, and out far west is Fort Peck, Montana. So I've got a lot of memories and a lot of great experiences on all these different bodies of water throughout the country, and made a lot of friends while doing it.
So we asked some of our members to post some questions online in preparation for your seminar. One of them comes from a longtime FM Walleyes member. You probably know Barry Chenard. Barry was a tournament director for FM Walleyes for many years. So Barry wrote this. He was disappointed we finally get you as a speaker and can't meet in person. But he said he wasn't exactly sure what his question is, but you've done so much with children in your fishing career, and you've been so successful teaming up with your kids in so many ways. Maybe you could include this in your presentation or discussions here. Comment how fishing with your children has changed from when you first started and when they were so young, and now to where they're grown up.
That's a big question, Barry, and I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you FM Walleye members, either on the water in future gatherings, at your events, or whatever it might be. We've had an awesome time. I've been at the elite level and was very fortunate to compete at that level in the PWT, the NAWA, the NWT, and some of the other circuits. And at that point in time, I believe it was about eight years ago, AIM came up with what they call the grassroots level. It was a team type format, and it was Minnesota division. They had a Wisconsin division, and I believe it was a North Dakota division. And what that is it was a series of 4 tournaments in Minnesota on some of my home bodies of water, and you compete with as a team. What they had was AIM came out with a grassroots format, and it was a team type format. 1-day events. They were Sundays. Saturdays were kind of designed for pre-fishing, or Fridays, and it was for the working man. And I'm a co-owner in AIM. It was developed by 77 anglers to kind of elevate tournament angling and keep things in perspective for the anglers and for the sponsors. And seeing that new circuit was starting, I approached them and asked them if there's an age restriction, because everything else that we fish, there's always an age restriction, including the MWC. And at that point in time, my son was 7 years old. His name was Reed. And they said, as long as Reed can operate a cell phone, a marine band radio, and a flare kit, and possibly start the boat, you should be good to go. And I said, well, that's my responsibility, and I'll take that responsibility to make sure that he can do that for safety reasons. If something were to happen, we never know. Accidents do happen. But it was our first tournament was on Lake Mille Lacs. Once again, it's our home body of water. And Reed and I were all jacked up. My sponsors were all for it. And, that's the future. The children are the future of our sport. And we've got to continue to get them involved and grow that. So, with that being said, Mille Lacs is a really big body of water. It was kind of intimidating. I didn't want to go out and ruin it for my son, per se. Rough water, terrible conditions. It's kind of a fickle bite. There's times where you're dragging a live bait Lindy rig or type situation around, roach rig, with an 8-foot leader and a leech and trying to force feed them walleyes. Well, I knew that wasn't going to work for a 7-year-old kid. He would drive him crazy. So with that, you also have to kind of keep in mind and develop presentations that are keep the kids involved and give them, let's say, tasks throughout the day that keep them involved. It's a matter of procuring the bait, getting us night crawlers, leeches, or whatever it might be, but having responsibilities as a team. And it's just not me directing the efforts, it's a team effort. So we kind of looked around, came up with some presentations that I felt would work for Reed to stay in the game and keep the interest there and not just be the net man. And so I ended up, let's say, live bait rigging, and Reed was power corking. And what that entailed of was a just a bobber rig, but heavily weighted. So what would happen is that we would mark a fish, and I would point, where that fish might be, and tell him to cast there. And he would cast there, leave his bobber, sit for 30 seconds, a minute and a half, twitch it a little bit, and try to force feed them walleyes. But it gave him something to do and stay in the game. So we're always reeling up, recasting as we'd mark fish, but also it forced him to watch the electronics and give me a heads up. Hey, Dad, we're marking fish, or whatever it was. And that was my first task of getting him involved and making a team effort instead of the single participation. And I tell you what, there's nothing better when your 7-year-old son says, Dad, fish on, or grab the net. That just really got me hooked. And he caught it 27.5-incher. Well, with the AIM format, it's a CRR. And what we do is we catch, record, release, throw that fish back in the water, and keep fishing. But that was a key fish for our scorecard. And we went in, and I think we missed the money by one spot. But it wasn't about the money. It was about the memories that we created and the entourage of the people that were high-fiving my son and giving him knuckles and saying good job and good luck to him. And, that just brought a smile to my face that you still cannot wipe off my face. And, but more importantly, we were out to have fun, and you swing for the fence and create memories. So we started out doing that. And as things grew, as my son grew, his name is Reed, I was able to introduce him to presentations that were more advantageous to be competitive on all bodies of water. If it's casting jigging wraps or vertical jigging or trolling spinners or whatever it was, and I would get a line of waypoints marked out and have him navigate the boat either with the trolling motor or the kicker motor, just getting involved and creating team efforts. And it wasn't always a great success, but you know what? We always had a smile on our face. And that's what kept him going, kept him in the game, because he didn't get discouraged with the nasty weather. There was a few times where at 10 o'clock in the morning, he says, Dad, I'm cold. And to be honest with you, you man up and you put it on the trailer and you go home or do what you got to do to save their ambition for the times that you're going to go back out. Rather than forcing them to stay there, we're talking for $300 tournaments here. I wasn't going to lose my fishing partner over a half a day of fishing. We were all, froze or wet or whatever it might be. And those are the decisions that you've got to make for you as a team to be successful and have them create that drive, I guess, and passion like I've got. Not everybody has that passion, but not forcing them to do things and tailoring presentations that get them involved, I think was a real key to it. And a lot of it, we weren't super competitive, but you never know until you try it. And fortunately, some of our presentations were very successful, and we've developed some ways, let's say, and presentations that we've kind of tweaked a little bit that worked for all of us and had good success. And it wasn't shortly thereafter, I think we were in it for two years. We went down to the mighty Mississippi, which was a body of water that I grew up fishing. And Reed and I had a location that it was either going to be a hero or zero. And I took Reed for a heck of a boat ride. It was 63 miles one way. We went through a lock and dam system through downtown St. Paul something he's never seen. He says, Dad, where are we going? I said, we're going to either win the tournament or going to have a great boat ride. And when we got there, the fish were snapping, and we were pitching jigs with leeches, and it was cool. It was just one of them days that I've had multiple days that I'll never forget. But we put 37 pounds on the scorecard. I said, I think we've done very well, Reed. Let's work our way back. And we proceeded to go back and complete our boat ride, made it through the lock and dam, sat around for about 15, 20 minutes with the jitters of waiting to weigh in, and tried to, upgrade, but that didn't work. And went through all the processes, and you know what? We won the tournament by 1.5 pounds. And I tell you, there's nothing more exciting than a grown adult winning a tournament and beating out 60-some guys on a very competitive body of water. And that was just, that sealed the deal for him, for me, for our sponsors, and so forth. And since then, my youngest son, who is Roger, in fact, it's his birthday today, he turned 11. He started out when he was 7. So what I done then is I swap out partners. When Roger was real young, if it was adverse conditions, Reed would kind of take the helm, and vice versa. If it was an easy presentation, then Roger would take the ropes. And more importantly, we went out and had a good time and created a lot of memories doing it, and developed that passion with the kids to love and appreciate the great outdoors that we live in. And there's a lot to be said about that, because not every day did we win. Like I said, we put it on the trailer a couple of days, and you make decisions to maybe not fish in the greatest location, but more importantly, we got to keep a smile on your face, and plenty of boat snacks and drinks, and just getting them involved and keeping them part of the team, I think, is the real key to it. And they would pre-fish with me on different days that were good, and I would ask them straight out, what do you want to do in the tournament? And they would we'd do a lineup, and and there's been times where, Dad, I think we should move. And, I bite my tongue, but I'm like, you're right. Let's go try it over here. And it's paid off. So, that there's a lot to be said about that, just getting opinions, and it may not be the best, but it's involvement, again, as a team. And these are some memories that they're never going to take away from us. And now it's opened the door for the MWC or whatever the next level might be. I'm sure you all have been aware that we have migrated to the great state of North Dakota now. And there's some other circuits out here that allow 3 anglers. So we're interested in trying that. And another thing that we've got to adjust to is the 2 rods. We've always just basically ran 1 rod per angler. Now we're living out here in North Dakota, and we can run 2 per person. So that's going to change things up a lot, but we're really, really looking forward to that. And just competing and meeting a whole new group of guys out here on this same circuit, and letting their kids get introduced to my kids and whatever it might be. But one thing I want to tell people is I worked my way up from the PWT. I started as a co-angler, and I went into the Pro-Am circuits and competed at the highest level. So it allowed me to not have the stress that a lot of guys do, let's say, that have their partner who's a grown man as well. They're trying to achieve success to bring them to the next level, which I didn't have that lying over my head. I had kind of been there, and I had the tournament support that I needed. So it was a little different format. But more importantly, I would encourage anybody to try it with their kids. And you know what? It's not going to be a lost time. It's going to be memories and lots of laughs. And we've went through a couple propellers and some other things by, introducing them to navigating and following the GPS, and learning that shortcuts aren't the best way to go. But you know what? You just got to laugh and grin and bear it and go, okay, we've done some silly things in our life, and they've got to learn from their mistakes also. And more importantly, now I've got the kids helping to load the boat, unload the boat, and it allows us to, get them involved again, but gives them the confidence to do stuff that a lot of adults don't have the confidence in. And loading a $75,000-$80,000 boat amongst the crowds, but you got to give them the rope to do it and let them prove themselves, and it's just going to make life easier for everybody.
Yeah, when you're talking about kids, I mean, we've really seen that the push, right, for the youth fishing leagues that have popped up all over the country. FM Walleyes here, in Fargo, Moorhead area, we've got several local teams. So to hear about you talk about your kids and fishing together as a team, that's pretty cool stuff. Can't wait to see how well you guys do this summer. And you touched on a little bit moving to North Dakota. That's one thing I put online for the question was, now that you've recently moved into North Dakota, how will your summer schedule change now that you live closer to the God's Lake of Lake Sakakawea?
That's the $1 million question. And back in 1995 in the NAWA, I had an opportunity to fish Lake Sakakawea. I was running a tiller Lund with a 90 horse, and I ran from Garrison to the Pepsi sign, and I thought it was just to the end of the world. But we had a lot of fun, and there again, what a beautiful reservoir. And I'm super excited about learning a new body of water. I've fished a lot of the lakes, I guess the more popular lakes in Minnesota, and have confidence in them at times. And I know people out there that would give us a pointer here and there. But when we come out to the great state of North Dakota, we not only have Lake Sakakawea, which is a phenomenal fishery, a huge body of water, just beautiful, beautiful countryside, multiple presentations. So I've got my work cut out for us. We're going to focus on learning the lake as much as we can and going out there and having the good, bad, and the indifferent on dissecting that body of water. There's some stuff we used in Minnesota that'll probably work out here, but there's also new presentations, like I was saying, running 2 rods per person. You've got more opportunities there to do multiple presentations at one time. I'm thinking that I might try some guiding out there on Sakakawea to learn that body of water. I've got a lot of confidence in my fishing abilities, and we've also got the tail race to back up. If the weather conditions are adverse, we can go down to the tail race or the Missouri River. And Lake Oahe, I've put on a lot of miles since I've moved out here in October, just looking around, learning all these little bodies of water, these sloughs, these perch sloughs, these walleye sloughs, and had an opportunity to fish on Oahe a few times out of the boat before things froze up. I've been down there on the ice and had some great success. Still looking forward to the kids are all jacked up about going and catching some of the big pike on Lake Sakakawea when the ice starts to go out. So that's something we're going to try. But, it's really, really exciting, and it gives you a drive and motivation when everything you learn is going to be new, and it's going to be in your book of tricks or presentations. And so unlike Mille Lacs, it's casting paddle tails or casting jigging wraps. There may be a handful of presentations out there that we know work in areas, and this is all new. It's going to be fresh in our book, but more importantly, my kids are going to learn it with me as well, because they're at that age where they're going to remember those hot spots or certain areas or certain presentations. And it's, as I get older, I tend to forget things. So it's good to have a backup book per se, and 2 of them that are going to help me and help us as a team just have some success, but more importantly, great memories with the whole family.
Yeah. So, breaking down water, another question, Walker Bussey he said, what are some things you do to prepare yourself for an upcoming tournament? Do you spend much time pre-fishing a lake? If so, is much of that time spent scanning structure or fish?
That's a $1 million question. And out here, let's say on Lake Sakakawea, I'm probably going to do a lot more scanning and looking and marking break lines or some unique areas within a break line, if it's an underwater point or a cup or whatever it might be. But locating fish and learning what drives them. If it's the bait fish, I understand there's a lot of smelt out here and the fish stage according to where the bait are. And so I'll be doing a lot of scanning. in lakes like Lake Mille Lacs or Lake Bemidji or Leech Lake. I've fished them all several times. So what I'll do there is I'll kind of pre-fish the areas and just build my confidence back up. But I do more pre-fishing when my kids are in the boat because I want them to catch fish, have fun, build their confidence. I do more looking, searching, and dissecting the body of water when I'm alone or somebody that's with me that isn't just worried about smallmouth and fish. So it's kind of a twofold deal. I spend a lot of time in the boat alone, learning my electronics, dissecting that body of water via the electronics and waypoints and mapping. And then when I get my partners in the boat, then we do the presentations.
Okay. What's some of your favorite presentations?
You know, I've really developed a passion for jigging ramps. My boys love it. It's an action reaction. You're involved all the time. We kind of tag team when we do things. I always tell them to watch where I cast, so we're not fishing that same 10 feet of water, and spread things out a little bit. And I tell them to pay attention to that. My kids have really learned, like I was talking about earlier, with the power corking and watching the graph. Now they look at the side imaging and down scan and say, oh, there's a fish over there, and they'll pitch it up at the back of the boat and work those fish that maybe followed our baits up but didn't hit and are using the boat as shelter. They'll work them up behind the boat. So we do a lot of jig wrapping. I love trolling spinners and bottom bouncers, but more of the hands-on type of presentations. I'm going to do what it takes to adapt and be competitive. But there's certain presentations, like you asked, what's your favorite? We love jig wrapping, and it's nothing better than a thump and having anything from a 10-inch walleye to a 30-inch walleye. But we also like trolling planer boards up in shallow structure and covering a lot of water. The neat thing about walleye fishing is there's the sky's the limit on your presentations. They're still writing the book on the presentations. You know, I've heard guys say, wow, I know everything about walleye fishing. Nothing's changing. It's changing by the day. And as we learn more and share that information, guys are coming up with little tweaks, nooks and crannies, or things to dial in the jig wrap, changing the hook out and doing some different things. The line that you use, your lures are going to act different just by if it's a fluorocarbon or a super line or just a straight mono, and your rods, your reels, and so forth are going to present them baits a lot different. So it's just a matter of tweaking that stuff to dial it in, to build your confidence, to have success and create memories.
That's cool. You know, there's a lot of new things in your life this year. You're wearing a hat there. That's something new. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about that?
You know, this is a big announcement. My wife just said, wow, you're wearing the Warrior garb and you haven't even made a press release. Yeah, I am officially going to be representing Warrior Boats, and I can't be happier about it. Warrior is a great company. I've known of Warrior Boats. In fact, my partner, Sam Anderson, in 1994 had a Warrior tiller with 75 horse on it. So that was the first Warrior boat I rode in. And then this year, when I was looking to switch things up, I had an opportunity to run in the new 22-footer and then also the 208 up on Sakakawea in 4-footers. What a great place to test that boat out. And I tell you what, I've been grinning from ear to ear to get that boat out and try it on the Great Lakes, Sakakawea, or the Missouri River and all these other bodies of water that we have out here in this great state of North Dakota. But they run a great boat, a great company. They're hands-on. Kent Anderson is involved heavily with the AIM. They're a major sponsor of AIM, and so is Yamaha, who is also my other sponsor. And it's going to be a great combination. It's going to be a Yamaha wrapped Warrior 208, and super excited to have that on the body of water and explore these new bodies of water. And anybody that's looking to take a 208 for a ride, flag me down. But if you see a Yamaha wrapped Warrior, it's me and the boys and the wife or somebody out trying to create memories and having a good time. So I'm super excited to be part of the Warrior family, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there as excited as I am.
Well, I'm excited to have you in North Dakota. You know, we talked a little bit before. I've born in North Dakota. I've lived here my whole life. Um, I'm excited to see. You know, you hit on a little bit. You know, we've got a little bit different aim circuit out here. We got our own aim circuit. You've got the Ranger Cup, the Casino Cup.
Yep.
That's the 3-man tournaments. Then you got some local tournaments that are pretty big. But maybe a snapshot. I mean, what do you thinking your summer is going to look like?
You know, I'm going to do what I can do. I'm going to try to fish all the AIM events. I'm thinking about the Casino Cup tournaments and then filling in maybe one here, one there. But I'm not going to try to just completely fill up my plate with tournaments. I want to just spend some quality time out there with the family, learning those bodies of water and so forth. I fished the Missouri River. We've had several PWT tournaments, NAW, NWT tournaments down on the Missouri River, but that changes all the time too. So we've got so much to explore here, from the Van Hook Arm, or I should say from Newtown to the South Dakota border. And we're going to be putting some gas through that Yamaha and putting some miles on that Warrior boat, but we're going to do what we can to compete, and have a good time. And you know, who knows? I might even ask my wife to come out and have a fish a tournament with us. I've never done that, and we'll see what happens. And the kids can be cheerleaders for the day. But it's nice to have that opportunity out here to do several different things, and whatever level you want to bring it to. As far as the competition goes, you can make it what you want. But more importantly, I just want people to have fun and learn, and to share those memories with other, and the camaraderie. And that's what keeps me going is, you know, there's nothing better, like I said before, when the kids are out there, that people are high-fiving them, giving them knuckles, and trying to pimp the kids. How'd you guys do today? You guys on fish? And they learn from the beginning. It's tight-lipped. Ask my dad. Or we caught him in the lake, or whatever it might be. But, you know, and that's all part of it too. And we get the jitters and the excitement, but the passion's there, and we just love to fish, open water, ice fish, hunt. And that's why we moved out here to this great state of North Dakota. I've been hunting out here for 24 years, and with this COVID stuff shaken down and not knowing what the kids were going to do and this and that, North Dakota was open. All the kids were going to school. We moved out here, and haven't looked back. My wife's got a smile on the face. The kids are loving it. They love their school. Met a lot of friends, and a lot of the people out here have the same passions. It's just the outdoors, and I think we really found where we belong.
That's super cool. Good to hear.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple more questions. When you so you're going to run a new boat this year. When you're setting up you touched on electronics earlier when you said you're scanning down scan, side scan imaging, different things like that. Have you played around with any of the live technologies? If so, what are you looking at, like 360 or anything live or anything like that? What do you rig your boat like with the electronics?
You know, up until this year, I've always had I'm running Lowrance Electronics, and I've started out with Lowrance, and I've got a lot of confidence in them. They all the manufacturers make great products. It's just a matter of what you've got your confidence in. So I'm going to stick with Lowrance, and I am going to do the live scan, the live scope per se. I messed around with it ice fishing, had an opportunity with some other guys in their boat to utilize it. Other manufacturers, it's awesome. But you know what? It still doesn't catch you the fish, and that's something that I've noticed. Like I said, I'm not the youngest guy, but a lot of these younger people are having great success with spending time on the water and learning and breaking down that body of water, dissecting it with their electronics. And I really see it in the bass circuits, where these young Jordan Lees and so forth are able to step in and be super competitive, because they're using their technology to their best of their advantage. And I suggest that to anybody, but you got to learn it. And one thing I did, even when when some of our new graphs came out, I took my underwater camera out, dropped it down over the side of the boat. Okay, I'm looking at grass. I'm looking at cabbage. I'm looking at rock piles and gravel. And that really painted that mental picture of what I'm seeing on my graph. And I still do that on an annual basis just to dial it in and know exactly what I'm looking at. So I don't have to have any question of what I see down there. And that gives me the confidence to know and travel at a greater speed and cover more water per se, and break it down to learning. I think any of the manufacturers are great. I have confidence in Lowrance. They've been supporting us and the Walleye game since before I started. But they're all good manufacturers, and it's just a matter of what fits into your budget. And I always tell people, I say, I don't care if you have a $300 boat. I spend the most money on my electronics because that tells you what's going on below the surface and how the fish are acting, reacting, and everything else.
Good advice. Good advice. Well, we're about 45 minutes into it. Anything you want to say as parting words?
More importantly, hats off to all the FM Walleye members. I think these groups of walleye clubs are huge. They bring the professionalism up. They bring the sportsmanship up. They donate money to stocking programs. They introduce the kids to the great outdoors and the sport of fishing. And if any of your members have any questions, I am on Facebook. It's Ross Grothe Fishing. Go ahead and follow, but hit me up if there's any questions, if I can help you out on the water, in life. If you see me up at the ramp, come and introduce yourself. You know what? We all need friends and somebody flying our flag. And more importantly, I'd like to fly everybody's flag and help them out to become better anglers, have confidence, create memories with their kids. And I'll tell you what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, because not everybody does it the way I do it. But it's going to give them confidence to go out and try more and more presentations and create memories and have success with their tournament partners, their family, their kids, or whatever might be. So more importantly, reach out. And I feel that any question that's not asked is the stupid question. Otherwise, it could be simple or in great detail, but I'm there to help. And that's how I got to where I'm at, is trial and error and asking questions and surrounding yourself with the people that may know more.
I really appreciate you taking the time. For one, I'm going to tell you, I can't wait to see you out on the water this summer.
Hey, greetings, everyone. This is Rick Mohan, and I'm here with Eric Zeitz. We are the FM Walleyes Classic Cup Tournament co-directors, and we wanted to share with you some information about the upcoming 2021 Classic Cup Series. So I want to start off with letting Eric say hi.
Hey, everybody. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, so the permits have been applied for a few weeks now, and we anticipate getting them back here shortly. But we wanted to let everyone know the dates that have been applied for so you can make plans. So, Eric, the first one, the Pelican Spring Classic, tell us about that.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's our first tournament of the year, 2-day tournament, catch, photo, release on Pelican. The dates this year, Rick?
Oh, are June 4 and 5. So that's a Friday and a Saturday.
Friday, Saturday, June 4th and 5th. This has historically been, the last couple of years, a pretty fun tournament to watch and see these weights come in. We've had some pretty good success there early in the season on Pelican. 2 days, right now, we've decided, Rick and I have talked, online rule meetings are going to be what we do for all of the series this year. It seemed pretty smooth last year. I think it worked out well for everybody. That doesn't mean we don't want to get together and see people. Obviously, if it's permitted this summer, we're going to have our trailer if we can. We're going to have our trailer set up, but we can't have, we just decided the rule meeting, we're going to leave online. So look for us down there at Pelican. Again, the other thing.
The headquarters will be at the Cormorant Inn.
Yep, the Cormorant Inn. We'll have, hopefully, if we can, we'll have our trailer set up. The other thing, same with weigh-ins. I mean, yeah, we want to have our weigh-ins with the trailer. I mean, that's what we have this stuff for, and it brings people together, and everybody looks forward to having a good time. But if we can't do it, we'll have online weigh-ins again, like we did last year. So,
or the award ceremony.
The award ceremony.
We're not
Yeah,
weighing in live fish.
Yeah, we're not weighing in live fish. It'll be an award ceremony weigh-in. So just kind of watch us, watch our Facebook page, watch everything as we go through the season. But that's going to be across the board for all of our tournaments. You know, we'll play the ceremony, the weigh-in ceremonies, the award ceremonies as it comes. But all of the rule meetings will be online.
So the next event, Eric, is the Big Pine Shootout. And again, we're going to be hosted out of the Big Pine Lodge, and that's June 20th. Talk a little bit more about that.
June 20th, Father's Day. We decided we're going to keep it on Father's Day. We're going to try to make this a tradition. We had a pretty good tournament last year. A lot of fish were caught, pretty tight. Good competition out there. So we're looking to go back and have another good time there. It worked out well.
It was a fun event. It was a blast. So
it really was. And and we talked about this before. I think if we can have a live ceremony, it's going to be a fun, even funner event. So
it'll be an attraction. There's a lot of people that want to share that excitement.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So our third event is the Cormorant Fall Classic, which is on Big Cormorant. And this year that'll be September 24th and 5th. That's a Saturday, Sunday event.
Yep. Saturday, Sunday for that one championship. One change that we did keep with this tournament, catch, photo, release. We had a lot of good feedback from several of the anglers that fished it last year. We had great feedback from the Lake Association members. We had great feedback from a lot of folks just expressing that, appreciation. I think it was good on the fishery. I don't know. The weights obviously were higher. We didn't, but there's going to be some people that are a little bit, disappointed that we can't do the live weigh-in. But boy, for catch, photo, release tournament weights, it sure was exciting, and we want to keep it that way. Remember what Rick said at the beginning. These are tentative dates. The permits have been applied for. We're just waiting to make them official. So as of right now, it's all tentative. So
just a couple bullet points to finish up, guys, is that the format for all of our events this year are catch, photo, release, as Eric had mentioned. The entry forms will be published as soon as permits have been issued by the Minnesota DNR. And, that could happen this week, next week. It's up to, and they're responsive. They're doing good work, and everyone's kind of struggling with, working remotely and all that stuff. So I don't mean to diminish their good efforts. So, and as Eric mentioned, we're going to do the online rules meeting, and we will be looking forward to live award ceremonies if possible. And I guess the other thing that's changed for this year, guys, is that we're going to cap all the tournaments at 80 boats. So I want to mention that. You'll see that in the rules rolling out, but this year, in the past, the permitting had been 120, and we haven't come close to that for a long time, but we're just going to cap it at 80 boats this year, and hopefully gain some excitement and participation.
Yeah. It's going to be a good summer.
Yeah. Well, guys, hey, that's all we had, but we did want to give you a tournament update. So all the best to you guys. Have a great rest of the winter. Stay safe on the ice if that's what you do. And, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to Eric or myself.